The silence of the Quacks. The city was shrouded in darkness, the only light coming from the flickering street lamps and the glowing moon in the sky. The air was cold and damp. A thick fog settled over the narrow streets, making it difficult to see. Clarizzle Snarling, a rookie FBI agent with a haunted past, had been assigned to investigate a series of gruesome murders that had left the city in terror. Having lost her sister to an unsolved murder years before, Clarizzle was determined to catch the killer and bring justice to the victims. The killer was known only as the Quack, and Clarizzle was hell-bent on catching him. Little did she know that her mission would unravel a web of deceit, reaching far beyond her wildest imagination. She arrived at the FBI headquarters, where she was greeted by her boss, Crack Jawford.
"Welcome to the team, Clarizzle,"
he said, a serious look on his face.
"The Quack is our top priority. He's a monster, and we need to catch him before he strikes again."
Clarizzle was determined to catch the Quack, but she knew she needed help. She turned to the one person who could give her the answers she needed, Connell Buck. Connell was a notorious criminal locked away in a maximum security prison. He was known for his cunning, intelligence, and his love of chaos. She made her way to the prison, where she was met by the warden.
"You're here to see Connell?"
he asked, a smirk on his face.
"Good luck with that. He's a tricky one."
Clarizzle entered Connell's cell, where he sat on a small cot staring at the wall.
Connell,
she said, her voice firm.
I need your help to catch the Quack.
Connell turned his head to look at her, a sly grin on his face.
"And what makes you think I know anything about the Quacks?"
he asked, his eyes glinting in the dim light. Clarizzle was determined.
You have a reputation for being a criminal mastermind, Connell. I know you have the answers I need.
Connell laughed, a deep, guttural sound.
"Well, promise,"
he said.
"But if I help you, you must promise me one thing."
What's that?
asked Clarizzle, her heart racing.
"That you'll bring me the grocery up for dinner,"
Connell replied, a glint in his eye. Clarizzle rolled her eyes.
Fine,
she said.
But you better start talking.
Connell began to speak, telling her everything he knew about the Quack. He told her that the Quack was a master of disguise, able to blend in with the city's crowds and remain unseen. He told her that the Quack was a sadist, relishing in the pain and suffering of his victims. He told her that the Quack was a duck. Clarizzle was shocked. She never would have suspected that the Quack was a duck, but it made sense. The Quack's victims were always ducks, and he always left behind a feather as a signature. For some reason, Connell seemed to have personal interest in finding the Quack and helping Clarizzle. As they dug deeper into the case, they discovered that the Quack was receiving financial support from Smooch McQuack, a billionaire businessman with a dark reputation. Initially, it appeared that Smooch was funding experiments whose lead researchers had been murdered by the Quack, but Clarizzle couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Over the next few weeks, Clarizzle and Connell, who had been released on parole to help with the case, worked tirelessly together, following leads and gathering evidence. Their bond grew stronger as they confronted together the challenges that came their way. They learned that the Quack was once a brilliant scientist who had been conducting experiments on ducks to try and increase their intelligence. But something had gone wrong, and the Quack had become a monster, driven by his own twisted desires. With each new clue they uncovered, Clarizzle and Connell grew more determined to put an end to the Quack's reign of terror. They also became increasingly reassured that Smooch McQuack had a hidden agenda, but they still couldn't quite figure out his true intention. One fateful night, they received a mysterious message from the Quack, inviting both of them to a secret location. Somehow the Quack found out that they were hot on his trail. They hesitated, knowing it was a trap, but at the same time they were curious to finally see the Quack face to face. With a mix of trepidation and determination, they planned their approach, hoping to finally capture the elusive killer. They arrived at the location, a dark, abandoned factory with rusted metal and broken windows, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The air was filled with the stench of decay and dampness, making it difficult to breathe. Cautiously, Clarizzle and Connell stepped inside. Suddenly, the Quack appeared from the shadows, a twisted smile on his face.
Welcome, Clarizzle and Connell,
He said, his voice low and menacing.
I've been waiting for you. You know, Clarizzle, I took care of your sister. Now it's your turn.
This revelation shocked Clarizzle to her core, but she quickly collected herself and prepared to face her sister's killer. Just as Clarizzle and Connell were about to confront the Quack, Smooch McQuack appeared, seemingly out of nowhere.
Don't forget about me,
He said, a sly smile on his beak. The Quack glanced at Smooch with a look of betrayal.
You were supposed to be on my side.
He snarled, realizing that Smooch had double-crossed him.
You're the one who funded my experiments, and now you're working against me.
Smooch calmly met the Quack's glare.
I had my reasons for funding you.
He confessed.
I wanted to learn more about your work and use it to advance my own research. But when I saw the extent of your madness and the harm you were causing, I couldn't just stand by any longer.
Suddenly, the Quack activated a hidden trap, sending Clarizzle and Connell tumbling into a pit lined with razor-sharp spikes, narrowly avoiding injury. Smooch, however, managed to evade the trap, as he had anticipated the Quack's trickery. As Clarizzle and Connell struggled to climb out of the pit, Smooch confronted the Quack. They fought fiercely, their battle echoing through the abandoned factory. With a lot of effort, Clarizzle and Connell managed to escape the pit and joined Smooch in his fight against the Quack. Together, they cornered the twisted scientist, who increasingly became desperate and more enraged.
You may have outsmarted me this time, but you'll never truly stop me.
The Quack growled as he reached for a hidden button on his sleeve. With a click, the factory began to shake, and a countdown timer appeared on a nearby wall. The Quack had rigged the entire place to explode. Clarizzle, Connell, and Smooch knew they had to act quickly. Working together, they raced against the clock to disarm the explosives, each using their unique skills and knowledge to tackle the complex mechanisms. As the seconds ticked away, the trio managed to disarm the last explosive just in time. With the threat neutralized, they tied up the Quack and called the police, finally putting an end to his reign of terror. As the Quack was led away by police officers, his twisted laughter echoing through the abandoned factory, Clarizzle, Connell, and Smooch knew that their work was far from over. There were still many unanswered questions and secrets to be uncovered. And so the story of Clarizzle Snarling, Connell Buck, and Smooch McQuack became known as the Silence of the Quacks, a tale of bravery and determination in the face of evil. A story that would be remembered for generations to come, serving as a reminder of the power of teamwork and the importance of standing up against those who seek to do harm.
Hopefully, that's a plus. I want to kiss over just like my papa that did it of a movie next.